This video is sponsored by Square Enix. Hey, what's up? My name is Alex and I'm a music producer, and today I wanna analyze the music of the new NieR game. Yes, you heard that right. There's a new NieR game. It got released a few months ago. It's called NieR Reincarnation. In fact, this video is sponsored by Square Enix. Yeah, they sent me some tracks from this game, asking me to tell them what I think about it with this video and to show them to you guys as well in the meantime. So I'm gonna do just that. As tradition for every NieR game, this one was directed by Yoko Taro, the creator of the NieR series, and the compositions were directed by Keiichi Okabe. And I think the composers were him and his team of composers at MONACA studio. This is one of the first themes they sent me. Sounds like this. I believe this is the main theme of this story. And it hints at the story already in these first few notes. Why do I say that this hints at the story already? Well, I'm gonna try not to spoil the game because I suppose many of you haven't tried it yet, and you can. It's available for free on Android and iOS. But basically what we have here is a metaphor. And what we notice in the beginning is we have these piano chords. Sound very somber and sad. But the peculiar thing here, which is the metaphor for a story, is that these notes played by the piano are accompanied by a clone of themselves playing in reverse, and they sound like this. It gives a bit of a dystopic feeling, which is all that NieR is about as a series. But what I love so much is that this tells the story in a way of two of the main characters of the first part of this game. One is called Theo, which is the little girl, and the other one is called Levania, which is the monster we see in the back in the artwork. I'm not gonna say more, but the people who did play the NieR Reincarnation know exactly what I'm talking about when I make this metaphor with the piano and the reverse. And this combination of atmospheres and reverse pianos and all that stuff should remind you of a NieR Automata track, the one that you hear in the intro of the game. In a way, obviously, I think this is just the style of Keiichi Okabe and his composers at MONACA, but also we know music in games is very used to tell the story on an implicit level. So by using this track in the beginning of NieR Reincarnation, which is so similar to the NieR Automata intro track, they're trying to tell us, hey, this is part of the same universe, there's the same vibes, and maybe the two games are connected somehow. The music might hint at that. The similarities don't end there, because when the vocals kick in, you're like, yeah, this is definitely a NieR game. I love the vocals in the NieR series. They hit different from other games. One of the reasons, obviously, is the language in which they're sang, which is chaos language, as I mentioned in my other two NieR videos. Another thing is, obviously, the melodies are beautiful, but the way in which they are sang by the vocals is so nice. If I were to sing it normally, you would get this. I'm singing the same words and the same notes. Why doesn't it feel the same? Well, the right way to sing it in a NieR style is to whisper almost the melody. So you would get something like this. That's more intimate, but I think what makes it even more deep in NieR is that I think they have the main vocalist also add literal whispers to their singings. So literally underneath this, you may have a whisper like this. And with a lot of reverb, you get. We hear an example of this in NieR Automata as well, in Fortress of Lies, which is one of my favorite themes. Like the vocals sound so spacious, as if they're being sang from inside your mind. Love it. And then after we're exposed to all that NieR nostalgia, I think that's where the main theme kicks in into full gear. So we get this. So one thing I noticed here is that This is like 3/4. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That time signature is the time signature of waltz also. So it makes this sound sort of like a dance, especially because this melody is playing around with another. Again, NieR Reincarnation is all about duality. So the melody, when you take it by itself and put it on strings, it sounds like this. This is the melody by itself, right? But it's accompanied by another melody on strings. When you put them together, you get this. And then it goes down here. So it's these two voices. One, the main melody is leading, while the secondary one is following in the steps of the main melody. But there's a moment where they kind of move in together, right? And that is so beautiful. Again, I think this represents the protagonist of this very first part of the game, Fio and Levania. Also, I'm not technically allowed to mention any other games because this is a NieR Reincarnation and NieR Automata only video. These are the rules. But this melody right here should remind you of another Square Enix game. I'm not gonna say which one because I can't, but if you're smart, you know what I'm talking about. I think the music DNA in Square Enix is very closely tied together, and I love that. What this main theme also does is it tells you this is a Yoko Taro game. Check the way it ends. You have this. Here. That passage, this passage literally loops back into the track without resolving. Let me break this down for you very easily and explain you why this is what tells you this is a Yoko Taro game. Basically what we have happening here is this. I think it's called a suspended chord, like suspended chords basically make music sound like it's on the edge and it wants to lead somewhere else. Usually, they're very used in JRPG music to resolve, so you get something like... That is a suspended chord that resolves to major. You can also resolve it to minor if you want, and you get something a bit more tragic. You know, it's sad, but it still resolves. It still takes you somewhere definite. But what we have in NieR Reincarnation is just a suspended chord. And it doesn't really go anywhere else. Except for the beginning of the track again. Now, how does this relate to Yoko Taro? Well, have you ever beaten a NieR game? You know, there's multiple endings, and the first ending leaves you with a certain impression. You're like, what the hell did just happen? I need to play the game again to understand and resolve this internal conflict that this game is giving me. You beat the second ending, same feeling. Third ending, same feeling. Fourth ending, same feeling. You just suffer, and the conflict does not get resolved. That's NieR as a series. And in a very interesting way, that's the way they ended the main theme of NieR Reincarnation. I think this game's story is gonna go in the same direction as every other NieR game, and it's gonna break us, and there's no way to escape that. Let's move on to other tracks that Square Enix sent me, because they sent me a lot. Obviously, one constant in the NieR music DNA is take these beautiful vocal themes and turn them into very awesome boss battle themes. So obviously, they did that with this track, which should basically sound very familiar. This beautiful combination of percussion and synthesizer and strings, but most especially... Yeah. Beautiful. Man, love it. And I love those like synthesizers underneath. Like, can you hear the driving rhythms? Man, that gives me so much hype. I love it when they do that. It's like Keiichi Okabe is literally turning feels into battle music so that the music can beat the hell out of our emotions even more. So yeah, what I'm trying to say is NieR music is still sick. I know there's like a bad connotation for mobile games, but if you're a big fan of the NieR series, I recommend to try this out, to be honest. It is a free-to-play mobile game with gacha in it, so you may like it or you may not like it. It's up to you. What I do recommend is to at least try it. it's free. And also, if you're a fan of NieR Automata, then I definitely recommend you to try NieR Reincarnation right now. Because from February 22nd until March 14th, there's the NieR Automata crossover event in Reincarnation, which enables you to unlock A2, 2B, and 9S if you get lucky on the gacha. So if I were you, I would try my luck right now because, hey, I believe those characters are going to be very strong and they are the 3 poster childs of the NieR series right now. Although personally, I'm much more fond of my boy Emil. Apart from those 3 and other exclusive summons, during this crossover event, there's going to be a new storyline with NieR Automata characters, which is only going to be playable during the event. So if you really like Automata, even more so, I recommend trying this and just give it a go and get more news stories from 9S, A2, and 2B. I don't know what to expect, but for what I've seen so far in NieR Reincarnation, we're gonna suffer. And you know, NieR fans love to suffer. I don't know what's wrong with us. I think Yoko Taro knows that. And he revels in it beautifully. There's not a lot of happiness in NieR, to be honest. Even in the music, usually it's all very melancholic and stuff, or at least at most it can be peaceful. But it's very rare to hear a track that is like idyllic and happy. I think the first time I did that was when I opened the gacha in NieR Reincarnation, and the track that played was this. Now this sounds kind of sacred, happy, beautiful. Even though this track has feelings that are not present pretty much anywhere else in the NieR universe, I think, it still shares the DNA with its predecessors. One thing I notice a lot in NieR's music is how much chorale it sounds. You know, when you think about the final boss theme in the first NieR game, you hear Gregorian chants and beautiful choir, and here we have the juxtaposition of that in a positive manner. So when you take this and turn it into a choir piece, you get this. Oh my god. Yeah, this is the only track in the game and I'm like, is this NieR? It's too happy. Man, we have a lot of tracks. Another one that they sent me is another battle theme that goes like this. This goes so freaking hard. Beautiful rhythm. Here's the thing that is very curious about this track. Normally, the time signatures you may hear in music are usually 4/4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 3/4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. As we've talked about before, many tracks in NieR have 3/4 time signature. But this track right here actually is like, nah, I'm not gonna do any of that. This is a battle theme. I'm gonna be freaking crazy because I can. So it goes from 7/4 time signature to 9/4 and keeps fluctuating. So you got something like this. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That puts you on the edge, but what I like so much about this is the chords underneath. If we arrange that a little bit, we get this. Now we're sort of like in a trance, right? And it could even go to other places. No, it doesn't go there. This part, I added it myself. But for everything else, that's exactly what the harmony is doing. Although it's played more minimally by piano and vocals. This is exactly what we heard before the strings. That's what's hidden inside this layer of epic chaos. And by the way, once again, this harmony reminds me of another Square Enix game. If you're very smart, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And by the way, when I say this, I don't mean that they're copying from other games. What I'm saying is that legend inspires legend. And that phenomenon occurs quite a lot between Square Enix games, which is probably why I like all the Square Enix soundtracks so freaking much. Square Enix sent me one more track, but I've been talking about music for 15 minutes straight. So let's just jam along to it. One important thing that connects all the tracks that I talked about in this video is that they're used in Season 1 and Season 2 of NieR Reincarnation. But one, there's loads more amazing tracks in this game as of now, and second, there's more content and story coming. Also because this game's story so far creates some questions that we need answers to, like what is the destiny of the protagonists that we've grown fond of while playing this first part of the game. And another question is, how is NieR Reincarnation connected to the other NieR games that we love so much? And I really hope that part of this question is going to be answered during this NieR Automata crossover event, because again, we're going to have some story quests only available right now featuring 9S, A2, and 2B. So I guess we may hear some interesting answers. It seems Square Enix is basically telling us this is not just a spin-off game. It's as much of a NieR game as the other ones are. And in fact, one other thing that I've noticed while going through this game is that, as you're gonna see if you play it, there's many stories, and each story kind of felt like the retelling of those weapon stories that you have in the NieR series, but through a more granular lens. So that was very interesting. Like, I don't think that's confirmed, but I think many of the characters that we see in NieR Reincarnation, which are new characters, probably belong to some of the stories we heard before in the lore of the NieR universe. And if that's true, that's freaking amazing, because hearing their stories in more detail in Reincarnation was very interesting. There's some characters that totally broke my heart. And once again, this is a Yoko Taro game, and it makes itself very clear, not only from the music, but also, and most especially, from the story. Anyway, guys, let me know what is your favorite track in NieR Reincarnation, and thank you, Square Enix, for sponsoring this video and making me dive headfirst into the music of this game. I will see you all in the next video. Bye bye.